So we're here with Steve Lawler joining us, the Ants Party. It's the week before your closing party here in Ibiza, correct?
No, it's not. It's the closing is the 6th of October, so it's like 3 weeks, I think. 3 weeks before the closing.
I've got 10 topics, so we can do this any way you want.
Sure.
We can do any of them. If you want to pick a topic, a number between 1 and 10, we'll talk about it. If you like it, we can keep talking about it. We can only talk about that. And if you decide you want to pick another topic, we'll pick another one, and then when we're ready to go, we'll go.
You take the lead, my friend.
So pick a number between 1 and 10. How's that? 6. Personal life. So
I had to choose that one, right?
we got here last night. We were talking with Lafleur, and I asked her what was something that she had never told someone in an interview before about their personal life. Can you give me something like that you've never told anyone before?
I can tell you right now that I'm building a house. I'm having a house built, and I've not mentioned this to anybody. This is quite a private thing, and it's awful. It's the most stressful thing I've ever done in my entire life, and you know, my production outlet this year has been a lot less, and people have often asked me in interviews, you know, we're used to seeing 5 or 6 singles from you in a year, and we've not seen much this year, and that's the reason. Mainly because you've got to, for me to, first of all, I'm a producer that writes my own music, which in present day, I seem to be a rarity these days. And I've been asked, you know, management have said to me, you know, let's get some ghostwriters, and I'm like, no chance. That's just not who I am. It's not what I've devoted my life to. So as a result, because I'm quite stressed out going through the procedure of having a house built, I'll often go to the studio, sit there for a day and just clatter drums around and playing different bass lines and synths and patterns, and nothing seems to gel or to stick. And I know it's because of my mental state. I know it is, because I've been doing this long enough to know that in the studio you produce your best work when you're emotionally torn one way or the other, either really depressed, sad, or really happy. You know, you've got to be one or the other. Being stressed is not the way to make music. So you've got something hot off the press there, that's for sure.
Do you want to continue on topic number 6, or you want to pick another one?
Let's pick another.
Number 10, radio.
Okay.
Talk to me about radio. I've been doing my show now for 19 years. How important is radio for you nowadays, and was it important for you coming up?
I mean, actually, coming up, absolutely. My very, very first experience of electronic music, acid house, was through a pirate radio station. So I'm sure I would have come across it anyway, but I came across it at the age of 14 because of pirate radio, and I wouldn't have come across it, and maybe things would have been a little different. I've got a radio show now called Nightlife Radio, which I do. It's only a monthly podcast, but at first I found it very difficult because, I don't know, like talking in an interview is one thing, but staging your own show is something completely different. So I think it took me about a year to get used to it. Now I think I'm in a flow, but it took about a year for me to feel comfortable. But I do think that now, more than ever, it's important, because this is how people consume music. They stream music. No one buys music anymore. It's streamed. And that is obviously where radio lies. So I think it's a bigger platform than it's ever been.
Do you still enjoy doing it? Do you look forward to it? Or is there some months where you're going, oh crap, I got to get this done?
No, there's some months where I go, crap, I got to get this done. But that's only because I got to speak and I got to talk about the show. And you know, and the thing is, I do sometimes feel that way, but whenever I start recording the show, I always enjoy it, because essentially I'm talking about music, which I love, and I'm talking about the shows that I've done or shows that are coming up, which again I love. So when I'm in, I enjoy it. It's just always one of those things that I have to try and find time for. I don't like to rush anything, so I like to take a few hours out, sit in my studio and record it comfortably.
And if you're busy about a wall going up or the roof not going on in your house, it has some troubles too.
Yeah, I tend to turn my phone off at that point. I'm like, the world can shut down while I do that show.
All right, next number.
Let's go for number 8.
8, the good old days. When were the good old days for you, and are they still around?
They still are around. I mean, I don't ever think of it as good old days. I always think of it as I'm fortunate because I've witnessed the scene change quite dramatically, and I've been a part of it then when we used to literally tour the world carrying record boxes, and you'd play, the smallest set would be 6 hours up until 10 and 12 hours. That was a different time. Now we travel with computers, laptops, USBs, and we play 2 hours. And it's a different, what you can do creatively is different now to what you could then. There's definitely things that are better, there's things that are worse, but it's equal cut. So for me, I just look at it as I've seen, I'm so fortunate that I've been able to play that scene then, and I can play it now as well. And if people ask me, often do, which is the best, it's not a simple answer like that. There are things better now, and there are things that are better then. So the good news is, it's still great now. Music is still amazing, and events are still amazing. So as long as it's still good, I'm happy.
We'll pick one more before we wrap up, because you're up soon, I think.
Yeah.
Any other one?
Let's go number 2.
Touring. Still,
Hard
from
work.
everybody I tell, is always the worst of everything.
It's hard work, yeah. It's played with me mentally over the years. That's a tough one. That is essentially what we get paid for. We do well. That's no mystery that DJs do well, but that's what we do well for. That's what I sell of my soul for the reward that I get. And the number one reward that I get is performing in front of people. The payday that I get is the paycheck. The paycheck is not for performing in front of people, trust me. The paycheck for performing is performing. That's an addiction in itself. That is something that you can't replace. It's unique, and it's worth more than money, that's for sure. But we get paid for the long hours, the traveling, the lack of sleep, the sacrifices that we make, the being away from family, the being away from friends, the lonely times, because believe me, there's enough of them. Even if you travel constantly with a tour manager, I mean, you know, my tour manager I've traveled with for 15 years, I know more about him than my wife. I think I'm closer to my tour manager than the mother of my children, which is so bizarre and weird, but we've shared so many times together, and that's the thing. It's a very bizarre, strange way to live, and I honestly believe there's only certain people that can do it.
And I guess it's one way that artists of all types connect with that vibe, that they know that when they're in front of people or when they're doing their craft, that's their place, that's their reward.
Yeah.
However, it's the 5-hour layover and the canceled flight and the crappy hotel that you have to go to. That's the pay. Yeah.
There's no sleep. Sometimes you can have like a weekend of Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and in those 3 days you'll get 4 or 5 hours sleep. That takes its toll on you mentally. You know, you cannot help but start to question your own reality as a person and as a soul, and it has some bizarre effects on you. And of course, the life of touring has its other hazards. You know, it's the things that you need to do to sometimes to be able to tour or to stay awake. You know, like the most basic of things that you have to do, and it's a very bizarre way to live. And honestly, I've seen people do it and purposely cut their touring schedule down by half because they just can't handle it. You know, and I understand that, but I think I've just gotten used to it over there. It's become me. As strange as that seems, it's become who I am. And if I didn't do it, I'd probably feel like weird that it wasn't there. So.
And you'd be in your house and busy wondering about what else to worry about. So
Yeah, exactly. I'd be like, I've got to get out of the house now. I've got to tour.
thank you so much. Best of luck today with the rest of the season here and going forward.
Sure. Thank you very much.